like and subscribe.
The story was told by a pious man, in principle, like his wife, so he asked not to mention their names and the city in which it happened, otherwise you never know. Well, let it be his will. Further from his words. It was in 2017, somewhere in the beginning or middle of May. The weather was sunny, but the puddles from the melted snow had not yet really dried up. There was this foul slush everywhere. We then walked around the city with our gang, me, my wife, and a friend with my girlfriend. It was a day off. There were a lot of people around, too, apparently. They went out in the sun to bask. We decided to sit on a bench near the park. We sit and talk about life. We look, not far, about 20 meters from us, some strange guy is hanging around. And what is his strangeness? We immediately did not understand. It seems that he is dressed like everyone else, but something in him then surprised us very much. Later, when we discussed what happened, we came to the conclusion that everyone immediately thought about his strangeness. Maybe his manner of moving, maybe something else. In general, he was somehow not like that. A friend then joked, "Inhuman man." Another thing was also strange. People walked past him, and he always turned face to almost everyone, as if he was trying to look into the eyes all the time. And his people, there was such a feeling that they did not notice at all, did not shy away from him, nothing. They went on and moved on. We observed this for about 3 minutes, then something quite strange happened. All four of us saw him turn his head in our direction, and a second later he was already standing near our shop. I'm not lying to God. I don't know how it happened, but none of us saw him approach or run towards us. It just appeared right in front of us, and that's it. We observed this for about 3 minutes, then something quite strange happened. All four of us saw him turn his head in our direction, and a second later he was already standing near our shop. I'm not lying to God. I don't know how it happened, but none of us saw him approach or run towards us. It just appeared right in front of us, and that's it. We observed this for about 3 minutes, then something quite strange happened. All four of us saw him turn his head in our direction, and a second later he was already standing near our shop. I'm not lying to God. I don't know how it happened, but none of us saw him approach or run towards us. It just appeared right in front of us, and that's it. And then the sheer game began. Now I easily tell, but then it was incredibly creepy. I, 100 kilograms in weight, have been involved in sports all my life, experienced such animal fear that God forbid. I will try to describe what I felt, but believe me, you hardly ever experience this. This guy was standing next to me, and not only could I say something to him, I couldn't raise my eyes at him. My body seemed to be both limp and at the same time stiff. I didn't feel my hands, as if they didn't exist at all. And the world around became viscous like jelly, as if time itself had stopped. We all sat in silence. Friends later said that the same thing happened to them. The guy, at first, muttered something under his breath. It was impossible to make out. Then slowly, as if lazily, I walked along the bench. I saw only his legs, because I could not raise my eyes. Pass by friends, meet and stop near my wife. Before that, he was walking all the time and muttering something, but as he caught up with his wife, he stopped and stood silently for some time. Then in some language, I'll explain about the language, it was Russian, but not like that. He somehow drew up the words, as if he had never used them before. Maybe they used to say that, I don't know, but everyone then perfectly heard and understood him. He says to my wife in an orderly tone, "What are you doing with them here? Raise your eyes to me, look." And now you can call me weak-willed, whatever you like, but I couldn't squeeze anything out of myself to answer this freak. I just couldn't physically. I sat like an idol, lowering my eyes. My wife, still not raising her eyes, threw the phrase to him through her teeth, "Fuck off." The guy muttered something again, and then his wife shouted to him in a loud voice, "Calm down, demon," and raised her head. I never saw his face at that moment, but my wife said that he twisted one side of his face as if he had eaten something sour, made some kind of sound like snort, and just disappeared. As soon as he disappeared, the world again seemed to be filled with pain. The voices of people began to be heard. The trees rustled. The numbness also immediately subsided. We sit and stupidly look at each other, saying that it was. They told each other about who felt what. It turned out that everyone had the same thing, numbness and fear. The wife was just not so strong. I asked my wife, "Why did you call him a demon?" Further from the words of his wife, the voices of people are heard. The trees are rustling. The numbness also immediately subsided. We sit and stupidly look at each other, saying that it was. They told each other about who felt what. It turned out that everyone had the same thing, numbness and fear. The wife was just not so strong. I asked my wife, "Why did you call him a demon?" Further from the words of his wife, the voices of people are heard. The trees are rustling. The numbness also immediately subsided. We sit and stupidly look at each other, saying that it was. They told each other about who felt what. It turned out that everyone had the same thing, numbness and fear. The wife was just not so strong. I asked my wife, "Why did you call him a demon?" Further from the words of his wife. Didn't you understand who it was? As I more or less saw him, I realized that he was not of this world. A demon, and not one of the lesser ones, it seems. There was a blue glow around him. Didn't you notice? People do not see them, either they skillfully merge with the crowd, or they avert their eyes with their strength. I don't know why the four of us saw him. Maybe that's why he came to us. And why he specifically turned to me, I don't know. Maybe he felt that I didn't succumb so easily to his will. In general, we discussed this for a long time. Somewhere in 6 months, there was a continuation of the story. In the words of his wife, my friend and I went to the church, which is not far from that very park. We arrived there, tied scarves, we go in. In the middle stands a priest facing the icon, and, it turns out, with his back to us. People sit, pray. It also turns out with their backs to us. And a little to the right of the icon itself, the same guy is standing with his back to the icon. As I was told, you can't stand with your back to the icon, but he'll right during prayer, facing people and muttering something under his breath, just like in the past once. There is such a bright blue glow around him, although a friend said that she did not see the light. It all looked as if the priest and the people were reading a prayer, and he inserted some words into this prayer. We were notably frightened then, immediately remembered the incident from the park and ran away from there. Although this demon did not pay any attention to us, it was looking all the time at one point. My wife then ran home in tears, told me everything, and we decided to change the church just in case. Such is our history. For myself, as from the author, I will add, I believe this man, as well as his wife. They revere God and oh, how they understand this topic. I had only one question for his wife. How did she understand that the demon was not from the lower ones? To which I was given the answer, lower demons do not have such power to enter a person into such a state of stupor of their own free will. It was definitely someone from their top. Well, to be honest, when I saw how much literature on this topic they had at home, I was not very surprised at her knowledge. I heard about the blue glow for the first time, but, as they explained to me, not all people can see it. The same husband and friends in the park did not see it then, and the brighter it is, the more powerful the demon. Something like this. Don't forget like and subscribe.